my teaching metaphor is based on being a part of a dance drill team. And in this situation, we have the team captain, who would be like the teacher. They're the ones who teach the routine, and then, like a teacher is the one who is in charge of the classroom. They are the ones who come up with what we're going to be learning and how they want it to be taught. And then you have the team members, who are going to be like the students, who are learning and developing this routine so that they can perform it later. Then we have the actual routine, which would be the content, the knowledge that is being learned and shared. And then we have the practices. Practices would be like classroom time or homework and all of those things that you do when you are trying to master what you're learning and learn it well. And in practicing, you do things step by step. When I was on the dance drill team, we would never learn a whole routine in one day. We would learn it piece by piece by piece. And that's the same with how we would teach. We teach line upon line, precept upon precept. And in that instance, it takes time to perfect and master each piece, and then you build on it. And after you've learned one piece, you learn the next piece. And then you put the two of them together, and you do it slower at first, and then you build up to the speed of the music. And that's the same how we learn in a school setting, is you learn piece by piece, and you have to practice what you're learning. And that's with homework and classroom time and all of these different things, and those lead up to learning how well you actually know what you've learned. And that's where you have things like a competition. And in the case of being on a dance drill team, when we finally mastered a routine, it wasn't just so that we could have it. We always had a performance or a competition so that we could share that knowledge, so that we have mastered this routine. And that's, whenever we had a performance, such as halftime of football, or we had competitions where we were being judged, and those would be things like tests and having any opportunity where you can show what you have learned to somebody else, those teaching moments outside of the classroom for the students. And then we also have the team coach. And for me, when I was on the drill team, our coach didn't really teach us the routines. It was always the captain's, but she was always there, and she was always correcting and helping, and she was modifying and making sure that we were really truly learning things and not just being a part of it. And that to me is like the Holy Ghost, who is the true teacher, the one who is honestly making sure that things happen. And it's up to the captain or the teacher to come up with what they think should be taught, and then that coach or the Holy Ghost will correct it and make sure that what we really need to have taught is being taught, and what they really need to learn is being learned. And that more or less sums up my idea of what teaching is we have that coach who is the Holy Ghost and is the ultimate instructor. We have the captains who come up with what they're learning, and that would be the teachers who are in charge of the general knowledge and learning of each thing. We have the routine, which is all of the actual knowledge and content that you're learning, and how it's mastered is by learning it piece by piece through lots of practice and building upon it and building up to a full routine or full knowledge of any subject. And then lastly, we have the individual members, who would be the students, who are the ones who are learning and practicing, and they're the ones who this knowledge is actually for. And we have things like competitions or tests or times when you can share what you've learned with other people. And that's the end goal, is to be able to show that you have learned it, even if it's just teaching somebody else or showing it by being able to explain things to your neighbor. Ultimately, that is what we want, is to be able to know that we have learned it and be able to show it to somebody else. And that would be the end of my metaphor.